Okay, it is time for our ULS lesson. So you're going to need part 1 of your learning packet. Part 1 of your learning packet. We are going to continue reading the book Grumpy Mr. G. Grumpy Mr. G. If you want to follow along, you can scan your QR code using your camera. You can scan the QR code if you want to follow along and open the website. In the part 1 of your learning packet, in part 1, you are going to see 2 pages. You need this page. It says Lesson 4, Template B. And then you're going to need this page, Activity 2, Template B. Please cut out the boxes with your child. You're also going to need a glue stick. So we are going to read the book together, and we are going to do the cut and paste. So let me just cut out my boxes and we can begin. Please prepare your materials. All right. Last week, or the week before spring break, we read the book Grumpy Mr. G, and we looked for 2 different words. We colored 2 different words. What were the words that we colored? Let's review. What word did I color orange? It's his. Great job. How about the green word? T-H-E. The. Fantastic job. All right, so right now we're going to read the book together, and then we're going to cut and paste. We're going to read the questions, and we're going to cut and paste our answers into the boxes. Grumpy Mr. G. Okay, find page 1. Find page 1. Mr. G is grumpy. His window is made of clear glass. The sun shines through his window, and the light shines into his eyes. This wakes him up every morning. So this is the problem. He's grumpy because every morning the sun comes through his window and gets in his eyes and wakes him up. So let's look at the first box. Who is the story about? Who is the story about? Is the story about Mrs. B? No. Is the story about Drew? No. How about Mr. G? Mr. G. Yay, that's correct. So put your glue on the back of Mr. G. Mr. G. The story is about Mr. G. Who is the story about? The story is about Mr. G. Okay, we can answer the second question. What makes Mr. G so grumpy? Let's review. Mr. G is grumpy. His window is made of clear glass, and the sun shines through his window. The light shines into his eyes. This wakes him up early every morning. All right, what is his problem? Why is he grumpy? Did it say anything about a cat making a mess? His cat makes a mess? No. What about the light bulb? Light from his window wakes him up. Yay, that's the correct answer. So put some glue on the back and glue it in the second box. So Mr. G is grumpy because light from his window wakes him up. Okay, find page 2. Mr. G needs to sleep. He wants to make his room dark. Curtains can help make his room dark. So Mr. G buys different curtains. Mr. G hangs up thin white curtains. He pulls the curtains closed. He goes to bed at night. Will Mr. G get some more sleep with the white curtains? No. Find page 4. The next morning, Mr. G wakes up early. Light is shining in his eyes. He sees a lot of light coming through the curtains. The curtains are too thin and white. They did not make his room dark. Mr. G hangs up different curtains. They have black and white stripes. He pulls the curtains closed and he goes to bed at night. Will Mr. G get some more sleep? These curtains have black, white, black, white. What do you think? Find page 6. The next morning, Mr. G wakes up early. Light is shining in his eyes. He sees some light coming through the curtains. The curtains only keep out some of the light. They did not make his room dark. So you see here, the light is still coming through. Oh my goodness, find page 7. What color are his curtains on page 7? Black. Good job. Mr. G hangs up thick black curtains. He pulls the curtains closed. He goes to bed at night. Will Mr. G get some more sleep? So what does Mr. G do? What does Mr. G do? On page 7. On page 7, does he cook dinner for his friends? No. Does he go water skiing? No. Does he use curtains to make his room dark? Good job. That's right. Mr. G uses curtains to make his room dark. Okay. Find page 8. Find page 8. The next morning, Mr. G wakes up later. The light does not come through the curtains. Yay! His room is very dark. It is hard to see anything. He solved his problem. Fantastic job. Page 9. Mr. G is not grumpy anymore. The thick black curtains blocked the light and he did not wake up early. Now he will be able to sleep more. Mr. G is happy. The end. Okay, our last question is, where does the story take place? Where does the story take place? Does the story take place in the library? Where we check out books in the library? No. Does the story take place in the movie theater? No. Does the story take place in the bedroom? In Mr. G's bedroom where he sleeps? Yes. So please put glue on the back of bedroom. All right. Let's review together. Who is the story about? Who is the story about? Mr. G. What makes Mr. G grumpy? What makes Mr. G grumpy? Light, right? Light. Light from his window wakes him up. What does Mr. G do? He uses curtains to make his room dark. And finally, where does the story take place? The story takes place in his bedroom. Great job. Okay, that's it for ULS English Language Arts for today. Thank you. Bye-bye.